It's Tuesday, it's workout day, it's 10 by 800s. Also what I call Chasso 800s. Hello friends, I hope your summer's going well. I hope if you're doing summer grit, if you're following Believe in the Run, that your miles are going on swimmingly. I'm showing my support wearing my grit shirt from a few years back. I'm about 212 miles in. Before I get into the workout description, don't forget to run your LSD runners, which means like, subscribe, and ding the bell for notifications. And don't forget to share this to your running friends. All right, Chasso 800s. Sounds familiar. Sounds like Yasso 800s, doesn't it? Well, that's pretty much what it is. But there are a lot of pedantic runners out there, and I must confess I'm one of them, who will say that what I'm doing is not Yasso 800s. And I guess depending on how specific you want to get, they're right. It's not. Yasso 800s, if you're not familiar, you take your goal marathon time and you turn the hours to minutes, minutes to seconds, and you run 10 by 800 in that time. And then you would make the recovery a single lap of the track that is exactly also that amount of time. So if you want to run a 3-hour marathon flat, you would run 10 by 3 minute flat 800s and make sure that recovery 400 is 3 minutes. And anyone who is a pedantic runner would say any derivation from that is not Yasso 800s. So I'm not going to argue with that. I hear both opponents and proponents of Yasso 800s say that. Some people say, oh, it's not a good indicator, or it's not the best workout, whatever. What I do is a little bit different, and it sure seems like a good workout to me. So Chasso 800s, because I'm Chaz, and they're close to Yasso 800s, I tend to take the Yasso time and drop it by about 5 seconds. So if I'm training for a 250 marathon, a goal by the peak of my training cycle would be 10 by 245. Now, Yasso -5 is a good indicator for me. For those who are a lot faster at the short stuff, like my friend Anthony, they might want to do Yasso -10 for their Chasso 800. So he might want to do 10 by 235 if he's training for a 245. Someone who is more strong in the marathon, half marathon, long distance events, and is a steady pacer, like my friend Derek, he might be closer to the Yasso time, or Yasso -2 or 3. If he's doing Yasso -5, then he's more than ready for that race. Anyway, I'll do 10 by 800 in that marathon time converted, minus about 5 seconds. Now, if it's early in the plan, it might not be minus that 5 seconds. I'll do what I can. And then I'll just do a slow lap, which doesn't end up being an equal amount of time. It ends up being a little bit less, usually about 2:15 or 2:10. So it's only about 80% of the elapsed time of the rep. So some of the people who are opponents of Yasso 800s might say what I'm doing is harder and therefore possibly better, because I'm getting a little bit more towards that VO2 max zone, and I'm not taking so much recovery that I'm losing a lot of what I'm doing. So that's Chasso 800s. There's no trademark to that or anyway, but maybe there should be. But anyway, I'm going to get into that, and we're going to talk about the 10 rules of track running from the Captain Chaz.
Alright, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about my gear this morning because there's nothing too new about what I'm using. Reckless running singlet, as usual, although I don't think I'm going to be wearing this for that long. I might not even start with it, just because it's summer and it's hot. North Face BTN split shorts, because they're lightweight, they're comfortable. Injinji toe socks, lightweight, as per usual. I'll be wearing my Black Diamond Sprinter headlamp because it's going to be dark at the track, at least for the first few reps. When it does light up, I'm going to take some footage with the GoPro, Hero 9 Black, and Puma Deviate Nitro Elite V1, because I do not have the V2. These are fantastic race shoes and workout shoes. Normally for a track workout, I would choose something maybe unplated and a little bit more minimal, but since I'm doing 10 by 800, that's a lot of volume to do at the speed I'll be doing, so having a little bit of support would be good just to kind of get through that. The key is when I do this workout again in 2 months, I want to use the same gear, especially the same shoes, because it's a benchmark workout and I'm kind of gauging my growth between those two time periods.
Anyway, this is a workout video, and since it's a track workout, I figured this would be a great time to share my captain's rules for the track. Rule number 1, progressive warm-up. Whenever I'm doing speed intervals, VO2 max type of intervals, I always do a progressive warm-up of at least 20 minutes. That includes 10 minutes of running easy, and then about 5 minutes of running at marathon pace to half marathon pace, then maybe 2 or 3 minutes at a tempo pace before I do one last minute, easy to shake the legs out before I hop into my first rep. This might feel like you're starting the workout before you start the workout. The first few times you do it, it certainly does feel like that. But the purpose is to get your heart rate near to that VO2 max without getting into it, so that you don't have to use the first 2 reps to kind of get your heart rate into that. And it won't be as much of a shock to the body once you drop into that speed pace, because you will already have been close to that. So that's rule number 1, progressive warm-up. Rule number 2, the first reps always suck. It is known. The first rep or first 2 reps, depending on what length reps you're doing, they're always the hardest. The track always looks so long when you start your workout that those might be the slowest reps, and they might feel qualitatively the worst. Whatever, you just have to know that going in, wrap your mind around that, and know that everything after that is going to be better. Even though it might feel hard, every rep is going to be better after that. 3 left. We're starting to get faster. First 3 reps were sucky. I think I had a 248 high and a couple of 249s, but we're starting to get into the 47s and 46s now. Rule number 3, use the track markings, not your GPS. This might seem like a no-brainer, but believe me, there are plenty of people in my area who will go out and do their track workout. They'll do mile repeats or half-mile repeats, and they'll have it set on their watch. And of course, their mile repeat, their 1 mile will beep when they're about 1,500 meters in. Of course, with all the turning, it wreaks havoc on your GPS. Don't use your GPS unless you're using your GPS as a stopwatch. Take the lap splits, use the track markings. That's what the track's for. I promise you, it's accurate. So find the start-finish line, use that as your reference, or the 200 mark, depending on the length of your rep. That's rule number 3. Rule number 4, and this is another pet peeve. Don't be that guy. And that guy can include many things. It can include running in lane 1 with your earbuds when you know there are people faster than you running around. If you have your earbuds in and you can't hear people yell track, then you're not going to end up moving to the side and giving them the inside lane while they're fighting for their life on a hard rep. Don't make them go around you. Now, if they say, you're fine, stay where you are, and they go around you, that's fine. But don't be that guy. If you know you're going to be slower, or you're just doing easy miles on the track, which is fine, go out of lane 1 maybe. And don't be the person doing calisthenics in lane 1 while people are running by. That also seems like a no-brainer, but we get that locally. I think most people have stopped doing that, so I'm going to go ahead and say that so no one gets mad at me. All right, rule number 5. We're halfway through, so speaking of halfway, once you get to halfway through your workout, you start counting down. Halfway done, counting down now. You count up until you get to halfway, you count down. Believe me, it seems like a simple thing and it shouldn't have to be a rule, but mentally it's huge. If I'm doing 10 by 800, which I'm actually doing for this workout, then I'm not going to count to 10, nor am I going to count down from 10. I'm going to count up to 5 And then once I get past 5, I can count down from 5. There's something mentally about only having to think of get to 5, or there's only 5 left, 4 left, 3 left, that it makes it easier. It's easier to wrap your head around. So you count up till you get to halfway, then you start counting down. Number 6, speaking of things getting hard, CCMF. Quarter's done. The end. Choo-choo. It's going to get hard. Each workout is supposed to get hard. Steve Prefontaine said, giving anything less than your best is sacrificing the gift. So always, never accept less. CCMF. If you're gonna get on that pain train, then choo-choo. MF. Rule number 7. Track friends are true friends. It sucks to get out there and run laps around the track by yourself, so when you can get people out there running with you and suffering with you, even if they're running ahead of you or behind you, it's good to have someone else on the track. Even when they're on the opposite side of the track, you can look over, see their headlight, or see them in the sunlight there, and you know there's some solidarity there. So those are true friends. Number 8. Hold yourself accountable. On the track, it's easier to run reps than it is on the road. And that's not an opinion. You get a nice flat surface. If it's the track at Davidson like I run on, it's rubberized. That always helps. And the reps are always the same length. So if I'm doing 800s at the track versus half miles on the road, I'm probably gonna run about 5 seconds per mile faster for those reps on the track than I would on the road. So if you're doing something like mile repeats, which you can do in either place, and on the road you're doing 555s, on the track, do 550s. You've got it there. Everything is laid out for you to put in that fast rep, and for that same effort, you can do faster on the track. Hold yourself accountable. Don't hold yourself back just because of what a piece of paper training plan says. Well, follow your training plan, but hold yourself accountable. If you're going to use the track as a tool, then let it benefit you to the most. Number 9, you can do anything N times. It doesn't matter if it's 1 more rep on the track, 2 more reps on the track, 1 more mile left in the marathon. You can do anything for 1 mile. You can do anything 2 times. 2 more left. You can do anything 2 times.
That's right.
All right? That's a mantra that a few of us use when we're getting to the end. Sometimes not even that close to the end is, oh, you can do anything 4 times, or you can do anything for 5 minutes. Even though it seems like a platitude, say it, try it. It's a rule, make it a rule, and you'll do it. You'll do anything for that N times. Lastly, number 10, rule number 10, last one, fast one. That one's pretty self-explanatory. 1 rep left. That means last one, fast one. All right, choo-choo time. Last rep, 244, was the fast one. Mission accomplished. Choo-choo, MRFer. All right, so those are my 10 captain's track rules. I hope they're helpful and don't sound too self-righteous. But try using a few of those in your workout if you're not already, and see if that makes your track workout better or more awesome. Okay, so I just finished the Chasso 800s and finished my cool down, and I'm back where I started. And I'm pretty happy with how today went. Benchmark goal was to keep everything under 250. And while I started out in the 248s, 249s, because the first reps always suck, I ended up doing most of them in the 47s and 46s. The last one was a 244 because last one, fast one. And I'm happy with kind of my 200 splits throughout most of those reps because they were pretty even. I didn't have to do much, sprinting at the end or going out too fast. They were pretty even reps throughout as even though they ended up negative splitting. So I didn't really feel like I was hurting through any part of the workout. I felt appropriately uncomfortable. Definitely felt like there was more in the tank, and I feel like when I do this benchmark again in a couple of months, then I'm gonna be able to drop those times significantly. Really quick shoe talk. Puma Deviate Nitro Elite V1. Like I've said in other videos, I haven't run in the V2, but the V1, if you can find them on sale on the Puma website, and sometimes they run sales that'll discount them even further. That's how I got them really cheap. These are a fantastic workout shoe, fantastic race shoe, period. I could see some people being able to take these up to the marathon. I think 10K to half marathon is their sweet spot. They've got all of the bounce, most of the bounce of a Vaporfly, maybe not quite Vaporfly bounce, but they also have kind of that longevity, that strength of a supercritical foam like Hyperburst. So it's really kind of a mix between Hyperburst and Zoom X. And I can tell that there's a plate in there helping me out a little bit. So I do not regret these shoes at all, and I think they're a fantastic choice for key workouts and races. All right, that's my shoe talk. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to run your LSD, which means like, subscribe, and ding the bell for notifications. Share it to your friends too. Bye guys.